Your soulmate is in tears. They've been hoping you'll listen to this message. Wait. Before you keep scrolling. Stay here. For just a moment. Not because these words can predict your future. Not because they promise something impossible. But because sometimes the heart recognizes a message before the mind understands why. Maybe today felt ordinary. Maybe you smiled, answered everyone's questions, and carried on as if everything was fine. Yet when the room became quiet, when there was nothing left to distract you, the same thoughts returned. Did they ever truly care? Did I mean as much to them as they meant to me? Or have they already forgotten everything? If you've asked those questions, you're not alone. Because this isn't a story about chasing love. It's about what silence slowly reveals. When both hearts finally stop running. Your soulmate never imagined that your absence would become so impossible to ignore. At first, walking away felt like the easier path. They told themselves it was the right decision. That distance would make everything clearer. That time would slowly erase every feeling they were trying to hide. So they stayed busy. They buried themselves in work. Filled every quiet hour with distractions. Kept moving. So they would never have to sit alone with their own heart. For a while, it seemed to work. Life continued. The days passed. People laughed around them. Everything looked normal. But appearances can be incredibly convincing. Because underneath that calm surface, their heart was still asking questions. Their mind refused to answer. Then one evening, everything became still. No messages. No conversations. No noise. Just silence. And in that silence, a single memory returned. Not your last goodbye. Not your biggest moment together. Something much smaller. The way you listened. Without making them feel judged. The way you noticed when something was wrong. Even before they spoke. The way your kindness never expected anything in return. They closed their eyes. And for the first time, they understood something they had been trying to avoid. They weren't missing the past. They were missing the peace they only ever felt when they were with you. That realization stayed with them long after the night had passed. While they were facing those emotions, you were fighting battles nobody else could see. You questioned your worth. You replayed old conversations. You searched for answers hidden inside memories. There were mornings when hope felt distant. Evenings when your heart felt heavier than anyone realized. Yet somehow, you kept moving. One day at a time. One quiet step at a time. You didn't allow pain to turn you into someone bitter. Instead, it slowly transformed you into someone stronger. Someone who began to understand that real love should never require you to abandon yourself. And that became the hidden truth your soulmate never recognized before. They had spent so much time searching for certainty, searching for perfection, searching for something that always seemed just out of reach. But life has a way of teaching us what truly matters. Excitement fades. Appearances change. Moments come and go. But the person who brings peace into your life, the person who makes you feel safe, the person who accepts you without asking you to become someone else, that kind of connection is incredibly rare. And rare things are often appreciated only after they've been lost. So before fear convinces you that your story is finished, remember this: not every season of distance means two hearts have reached the end. Sometimes life creates space, not to separate people forever, but to help them grow into the people they needed to become. Whatever tomorrow brings, don't stop choosing kindness. Don't stop protecting your peace. Don't stop believing that your value has never depended on someone else's ability to recognize it. Take one slow breath. Close your eyes and quietly whisper, "May I let go of every fear that tells me I am not enough. May I keep growing with wisdom, with patience, and with quiet strength. If love is truly meant for me, let it arrive without fear, without force, and with complete honesty." Amen. Stay with me, because in part 2, you'll discover the quiet moment when your soulmate finally stopped running, looked into their own heart, and realized the one truth they could no longer deny, the truth they tried to silence. Refuse to stay buried. Stay with me, because this is the moment everything inside them began to change. Your soulmate kept telling themselves, "I made the right choice. Life goes on. I'll eventually stop thinking about them." Those words became part of their daily routine. They repeated them again and again, until they almost sounded true. Almost. Because every time life slowed down, every time the world became quiet, the same feeling returned. Not with anger, not with regret, but with a question they could no longer escape. At first, they blamed loneliness. Then they blamed memories. Then they blamed the passing of time. But none of those answers ever brought peace. Because deep inside, their heart already knew. This wasn't about missing the past. It was about missing the person who made ordinary days feel safe. A simple conversation, a shared laugh, the comfort of knowing someone truly understood them. Those weren't dramatic moments. Yet somehow, they became the memories that refused to fade. One evening, while watching the sun disappear beyond the horizon, they caught themselves smiling. Not because something exciting had happened, but because they suddenly remembered the way you used to encourage them when they doubted themselves, the way you celebrated even their smallest victories, the way you believed in them long before they believed in themselves. For a moment, it felt as though you were still there. And when that feeling disappeared, the silence felt heavier than ever. That was the moment they finally admitted something they had spent months trying to deny. They weren't trying to forget you. They were trying to forget how deeply you had touched their heart. While those emotions grew stronger, you were changing too. Not because life had become easier, but because you stopped waiting for someone else to decide your happiness. You learned to enjoy your own company. You found strength in quiet mornings, hope in difficult days, and peace in simply becoming the person you were always meant to be. Without even noticing, your confidence returned. Not the kind that seeks attention, but the quiet confidence that comes from healing. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything. The kind that simply shines. Your soulmate noticed that change. Not through words. Not through messages. But through the memory of who you had become. They realized the person they almost left behind was never asking for perfection. You were offering honesty, patience, understanding, a place where they could simply be themselves. And suddenly, they understood how rare that truly was. Because people spend years searching for excitement. Yet the heart always longs for peace. Listen carefully. Whatever another person's journey may be, never forget your own. Don't stop growing because someone else is still finding their way. Don't lose your peace trying to hold on to someone who hasn't finished learning what your heart already knows. The right connection will never require you to abandon yourself. It will meet you with honesty, with respect, and with the same courage you have been learning, one quiet day at a time. Take one deep breath. Close your eyes and gently whisper, "May I continue walking forward with hope instead of fear. May I trust the timing of my life, even when I cannot see the whole path. May my heart remain kind, my spirit remain peaceful, and may every relationship that truly belongs in my life arrive with honesty, grace, and love. Amen." Stay with me, because in part 3, you'll discover the unexpected night when your soulmate finally realized they hadn't been searching for a different future at all. They had been searching for the peace they once found in you. The night they finally stopped running from their own heart. Stay with me. Because this is the chapter where silence stopped protecting them and started revealing the truth. Your soulmate had become very good at pretending. They smiled when people expected them to smile. They stayed busy. They filled their calendar. They laughed during conversations. From the outside, everything looked perfectly normal. But there is something about the quiet hours that no distraction can overcome. When the day finally ended, and there was nothing left to do, their thoughts always returned to you. At first, they tried to push those memories away. It's just another passing thought. It doesn't mean anything. Tomorrow I'll feel different. But tomorrow came. And the feeling remained. Not stronger. Not weaker. Simply still there. It waited for them. Every single night. Patiently. As if their own heart refused to let the story end. Then something happened. They began remembering. Not the big moments. Not the emotional conversations. But the little things most people never notice. The way you celebrated their smallest victories. The way you listened without making everything about yourself. The way you noticed when something was wrong, even before they spoke. Those memories carried a feeling they couldn't replace. For the first time, they understood. People don't always miss someone's voice. Sometimes, they miss the peace that person's presence brought into their life. And that kind of peace is incredibly rare. While your soulmate was discovering that truth, you were discovering one of your own. You finally stopped asking, "Why wasn't I enough?" Instead, you began asking, "What kind of life do I want to create from here?" That one question changed everything. You stopped waiting for the past to explain itself. You stopped searching for answers that never arrived. Instead, you started rebuilding your own life. One habit at a time. One hopeful morning at a time. One quiet decision at a time. Slowly, your confidence returned. Not because someone chose you, but because you finally chose yourself. That quiet change was impossible to ignore. Your soulmate could feel it, even without speaking to you. The sadness they remembered had been replaced by quiet strength. The uncertainty had become calm confidence. You were no longer living as someone waiting for life to happen. You had started creating a life you were proud of. And somehow, that touched their heart more deeply than they ever expected. Then came the question they could no longer escape. What if I wasn't afraid of losing them? What if I was afraid of how much they truly meant to me? The answer didn't arrive immediately. But once the question had been asked, everything changed. Because honesty has a way of opening doors that fear spends years trying to keep closed. For the first time, they stopped blaming circumstances, stopped blaming timing, stopped blaming distance, and quietly admitted that some of the walls had been built by their own fears. But hear this carefully. Your story is not defined by someone else's realization. Your greatest victory will never be someone returning. Your greatest victory is becoming the person who never abandons themselves for the sake of being loved. Keep protecting your peace. Keep growing. Keep believing that genuine love never asks you to become less than who you truly are. Take one slow breath. Close your eyes and quietly whisper, "May I continue becoming the person I was created to be. May I never measure my worth by someone else's choices. May my heart stay gentle, my spirit stay strong, and may every step I take lead me closer to the peace and the love that is truly meant for me." Amen. Stay with me, because in part 4, you'll discover the quiet moment when your soulmate finally understood that the greatest mistake was never walking away. It was failing to recognize the peace they had while you were still beside them. The moment they finally understood what their heart had been trying to say. Stay with me, because this is the part where everything they believed quietly fell apart. Your soulmate stopped searching for someone to blame. They stopped blaming the timing. They stopped blaming the distance. They even stopped blaming themselves. Instead, they asked one simple question. What was my heart trying to tell me that I refused to hear? For the first time, they didn't run from the answer. They sat with it in complete silence. And little by little, the truth found its way in. They realized it was never about finding someone better. It was never about chasing something new. They had been searching for the same feeling they once experienced with you. A feeling that couldn't be bought, couldn't be forced, couldn't be replaced. The feeling of being accepted without pretending, being understood without explaining every emotion, being able to breathe without fearing judgment. Only then did they understand how rare that kind of connection truly is. Meanwhile, your own journey continued. You were no longer waiting for life to change. You became the reason. Your own life started changing. You laughed a little more. You worried a little less. You stopped carrying yesterday into every new morning. The pain that once controlled your thoughts slowly became wisdom. The disappointment became strength. And the loneliness became a quiet reminder that your happiness could never depend on another person's decision. Without realizing it, You had become the kind of person who brought peace wherever they went. Your soulmate could feel that change, even from a distance. There was no anger in your heart, no desire to prove anything, no need for revenge, just a quiet confidence that comes from healing. They began to understand that real strength isn't found in holding on. It's found in knowing when to let life unfold without forcing the outcome. That lesson changed the way they saw you. They no longer remembered only your words. They remembered your character, your patience, your honesty, your calm spirit. And they quietly admitted those were the very things they had been searching for all along. Sometimes life doesn't separate two people to punish them. Sometimes it creates distance so both hearts can discover what truly matters. Because love built on fear will always feel uncertain. But love built on trust has the chance to become something lasting. Whether two paths meet again or continue in different directions, the lesson remains the same. Never stop becoming the person you are proud to be. So if today your heart still carries questions, don't let those questions steal your peace. Keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep believing that the right connections never require you to abandon your values or your self-respect. The love meant for you will never ask you to become someone else. It will recognize the person you've been becoming all along. Take one slow breath. Close your eyes and quietly whisper, "May I trust the path before me, even when I cannot see the ending. May my heart remain peaceful. My spirit remain hopeful. And may every relationship that belongs in my life be built on honesty, respect, patience, and genuine love." Amen. Stay with me, because in the final part, you'll discover why the most beautiful love stories don't begin when two people find each other. They begin when two hearts finally become strong enough to love without fear and without losing themselves. The ending was never about goodbye. It was about becoming who you were always meant to be. Stay with me. You've come this far. Perhaps that isn't by chance. Perhaps your heart needed this reminder more than you realized. After everything you've heard, one truth remains. The greatest transformation didn't begin the day someone walked away. It began the day you decided not to walk away from yourself. Your soulmate eventually understood that the things they missed most could never be replaced. Not the conversations, not the laughter, not even the memories. What they truly missed was the peace, the feeling that life didn't have to be perfect. To be beautiful. The quiet comfort of being accepted exactly as they were. Only after losing that feeling did they realize how precious it had been. Because some gifts are recognized only after they're gone. At the same time, you had become someone new. Not because you forgot the past, but because you refused to let the past control your future. The tears that once filled your nights had become quiet prayers. The doubts had become wisdom. The waiting had become patience. And the pain had become strength. Without even noticing, you had built a life that no longer depended on someone else's decision. That was your greatest victory. Maybe your paths will meet again. Maybe they won't. Life doesn't reveal every chapter before its time. But one thing is certain. The person you are becoming today will never be wasted. Every lesson, every disappointment, every unanswered question, every silent night has shaped your heart into someone stronger, kinder, wiser, more compassionate. And no experience that teaches your heart to grow is ever meaningless. So don't spend your life waiting for yesterday to return. Live fully. Love deeply. Protect your peace. Keep believing that the right people will recognize your value without needing to be convinced. Because genuine love doesn't ask you to prove your worth. It simply meets you with honesty, respect, patience, and the same kindness you freely give to others. If this message has touched your heart, carry one thought with you. The most beautiful love stories are not built by two perfect people. They are built by two hearts that choose honesty over pride, understanding over fear, forgiveness over resentment, and growth over giving up. Whether your soulmate becomes part of your future or simply remains an important chapter in your past, never forget this. Your life still holds beautiful moments waiting to be lived. Your heart still has love to give. And your future still has chapters you cannot yet imagine. Take one final deep breath. Close your eyes and quietly whisper, "Thank you for every lesson that made me stronger. Help me protect the peace I have found. Give me the wisdom to recognize what is genuine, the courage to release what no longer belongs in my life, and the faith to trust that everything meant for me will arrive at the perfect time. May my heart remain kind, my spirit remain hopeful, and may I always walk forward with peace. Amen." As you leave this message, don't carry fear. Carry hope. Don't carry regret. Carry wisdom. And don't spend your life wondering whether you were enough. Because your worth has never depended on another person's ability to recognize it. Walk forward with confidence. Protect your peace. Keep growing. And never forget. The brightest chapter of your story may still be waiting just ahead. Until next time. Take care of your heart. Keep believing in new beginnings. And never stop becoming the person you were always meant to be.